Thank you for joining us for Public Safety Echo. The Public Safety Echo project is the world's first of its kind effort to use the Echo model to address safety issues by bringing residents, workers, and businesses together in an online, social, and professional space to share skills, increase knowledge, and solve problems. In weekly sessions, Public Safety Echo teaches skills, educates partners in different aspects of a healthy community, and empowers community members.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Downtown Public Safety Echo. I appreciate you joining us on this very warm summer day. I want to welcome our guest today. We have District 2 City Councilor Joaquin Baca, who joined us.
Thank you for inviting me today.
Indeed, and because he's wearing a suit, he didn't dress up for me apparently. So we wanna get through our conversation quickly so he can go on to his other appointments. But I wanted to thank everyone for joining us. I was looking for some new faces. I see Barbara has joined us today. And I just want to thank everybody for joining us. Let's please turn on our cameras. Echo is all about all teach, all learn, and we hope you plan on participating fully. The Downtown Public Safety Echo's goal is to increase safety by bringing residents, workers, visitors, and businesses together in an online social space to share skills, increase knowledge, and solve problems. Any views expressed by police officers or participating city officials are not meant to give legal advice, are only meant to educate and provide insight into the discussion. So today I wanted to have a conversation just about downtown development. And last week we had talked to, or a few weeks ago we talked to code enforcement. But you've been city councilor for 2.5 years now.
About 2.5.
And I mean, you've been working hard to improve and maintain a vibrant downtown. I guess my first question is, how's it going? How?
Right. It's going, right?
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
With anything, there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be wins and losses. And I think we are moving that football forward.
Yeah.
Not as quickly as I would like in some cases. In some cases, maybe a few steps back. But overall, I think we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, and we just had the ribbon cutting for the rail trail at First Street. The beginning of that. It's definitely, we have this conversation a lot just about how, having a walkable metropolitan downtown, a safe bikeable downtown is something that, we appreciate or I've grown to appreciate in other metropolitan areas. But it seems like it's a difficult sell for Albuquerque. Have you encountered that, just sort of the idea of making a little more walkable, bike-friendly downtown happen?
Yeah, the ribbon cutting, I think, is indicative or representative. A lot of people put in a lot of time over the years. Yeah. I think I saw Moises Gonzalez on there.
Moises,
He was there when we did petitions and pushed the administration to actually do that project. So a lot of folks helped to get that ball rolling.
Yeah.
And now we're at a point where it's halfway done, right? It's not complete. Right now it's just a ramp up to the rail runner.
Right.
It's a really good looking ramp, and I think that's an important thing.
Yeah.
But we're not there yet, so it's a step forward. But we needed 2 steps.
Yeah.
But we will get there.
Yeah.
I mean, it took 50 years before this happened.
Well,
so I think it's everybody's complained about the tunnels over.
I've complained about it a lot. I mean, just to me, even when we had the art project done, I just felt it was ignored. And it's always sort of been the gateway to downtown. I thought we'd at least put some paint on it or do something. So I definitely appreciate the effort to sort of incorporate, something as historic as the railroads and downtown and connect it to the rest of the walkable area around here, Old Town and stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely getting there. I mean, even the bike lanes on Central, which some folks were against when we first implemented it. Now people are happy, and you can definitely see the impact where, all the bikes and scooters are going down Central as opposed to before it was real diffuse.
Yeah.
And that is essentially tying into the bridge and eventually when the rail trail comes. And then over on Broadway, that's getting ready to be restriped, so adding in bike lanes there. So all that actually ties together in a much bigger picture than folks sometimes see.
Yeah.
And I share the frustration of, it's like being done piecemeal, and it sometimes doesn't look like things are happening, but it is getting there.
I guess my concern was with the construction on the freeway. Broadway is still sort of a north-south corridor at times, so I feel like sometimes we do a lot of this stuff all at once, maybe because the budget allows it or whatever, but I'm definitely curious as to how it'll affect sort of the flow of traffic as we grow.
Right, for sure.
Well, really, the reason I sort of asked you here was to talk about some of the public safety things that have been happening downtown. The struggle seems like we had talked about earlier is really changing the perception of downtown.
For sure.
I had mentioned the crime index that Peter Rice puts in his Downtown Albuquerque News, and just sort of the recurring issue that if we feel like gun crime and homicides are sort of gravitating to this area. And I was just curious, do you, or just, I asked the people on the call generally, like why do we feel that perception of downtown persist?
Right. I think so. A number of things. One, general crime statistics show that definite downward trend.
Yeah.
From assaults, break-ins, and so forth. But as several police chiefs, not just ours, but across the country that I've talked to, say, if the perception is things are unsafe, then you're still unsafe.
Yeah.
Homicides are up for sure, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Part of it is, we have no real gun control in this country.
Yeah.
I'm an advocate for gun control.
Yeah.
I'm an Army veteran, and we should have some control. And so there's guns everywhere, and predominantly with our youth. An AR-15. If you're under 21, you're only allowed to buy. You can't buy a handgun, but you can buy a long rifle, which was supposed to be hunting rifles.
Hunting rifle, yeah.
But AR-15s fall under that, right?
Yeah.
So guns are overly prevalent. And one of the struggles with downtown right now is the businesses on Central are predominantly nightclubs.
Yeah.
As opposed to a restaurant that goes through the day or something else. Instead, it's just nighttime. So shootings are up in that context. We can't get any meaningful gun control.
Yeah.
The environment is one that's a late night environment with drinking and young people.
Yeah.
And there's lots of things going on there. And then starting to lose my train of thought.
Yeah. Well, no.
So it is. Yeah. So we have. I think there's a lot of things that are creating that. What makes the news then is shootings downtown. Yeah. Even though the daytime you're essentially safe, and even at night you're mostly safe.
I've always felt safe.
Yeah, I live here with my kids, and we're fine. And then, of course, you have groups, that are just constantly posting the negative downtown, right?
Well, that was sort of my next thing, the social media aspect of how we're portrayed downtown has gotten out of hand.
Yeah, totally. You get, violence sells, the bad stuff sells. So posting videos of every single fight downtown and making it sensationalized.
Yeah.
Even our regular media, right? They only talk about downtown and there's another shooting downtown. Yeah. Even if it takes place way out of downtown, they just still say it's downtown. I mean, I saw one over by Presbyterian Hospital. Yeah. And they're like, another shooting downtown. Right. Like, that's 2 miles away.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot of that. There are some legitimate concerns for sure, but we still have a long way to go towards perception.
Certainly. Well, and one of the things that I felt happened that sort of addressed some of this is like earlier on we had elevated ACS's director, Jody Escabel, to a chief position and sort of really making a commitment to that third pillar of response. Right. And that was part of that. Well, that leads me to the public safety tax amendment that sort of expands funding for ACS and the last session that I had with code enforcement. So you obviously we have an understanding that public safety involves a lot more than just law enforcement and fire and rescue. Right. Why was it important for you to really support that as well?
Yeah, so both of those are ballot measures. Yeah. So she hasn't been elevated yet. We need to approve it. Vote yes.
Vote yes. Okay.
on that and the public safety tax.
Yeah.
So elevating her, so one, there's a perception thing that ACS really is on par with APD or AFR, which
Yeah.
some folks don't believe.
Yeah.
I very much,
Oh, and
I'm the sponsor of the bill.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. The other part to it, though, is the funding. The other part is the public safety tax bill here in Albuquerque to get more funding, but also federal and state dollars
Yeah.
can only go to public safety departments, and in which case
We have to.
ACS has to literally be on par. So it's a funding issue too. We can
Yeah.
get more money for that work if the director is
on that level.
On that level. So definitely vote yes on both those measures. Mayor didn't sign he has to sign the bills.
Yeah.
He didn't sign the public safety tax code today. I don't know why.
So
It's still law. It still passes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we pass a bill. He has 10 days to sign it or veto it. If he doesn't sign it, it becomes law
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
just without his support. If he vetoes it, then it comes back to us to override or not.
Okay.
So in this case, he did sign the ACS director. He
Yeah.
didn't sign the public safety, so I don't know. I haven't
Okay.
talked to him about that. But
Okay.
I thought it was kind of odd.
But again, this is something in November we will
Yeah.
be able to vote on and make it into law.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fabulous. Well, I've sort of covered that stuff there about public safety. Another sort of thing that really contributes or that we're working on to improve just sort of the feel of downtown is housing.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about the unfortunate collapse of Lindy's and just sort of the reaction to that as well as the endeavor to, again, I mean, we were fortunate that code enforcement was able to notice and take action soon enough. But this lack of affordable housing has also been something that you've been trying to deal with. We have the rental unit habitability enforcement ordinance, protection of residential tenants. You live downtown as well. So what other things do you feel would really, help us make downtown more livable for people?
Right. So two parts. One, we'll talk a little bit about Lindy's first. Obviously, tragedy that we lost the historic building downtown. Last year, we passed the vacancy fee bill. So it was to it was literally for this, be proactive, try and get these spaces filled, make sure they're safe because, so many buildings downtown are attached to each other. We passed it last year. It was pretty watered down just to get it across. A lot of people took it as taxing the rich.
Yeah.
However you want to feel about that, we're trying to be.
If they're not here and if they're leaving their buildings.
Yeah, so it was watered down at that time. But one of the silver linings of Lindy's collapsing is all the teeth that we took out last year, we were able to add in recently. So now the hope is you won't have a Lindy's happen again, and you'll have more tools for the city to go after some of these absent landlords. So there's that. Hopefully that spurs. I think it was. In fact, it was helping prior. Now it should do more. I think that'll go a long way towards helping downtown become more livable, more walkable. It wasn't an easy bill to get across. So and then adding in teeth really, I think, makes a big deal. And we're going to be tracking that and see what kind of outcomes we're getting. And also there's provisions in there to help, property owners who just need some help, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to hurt people. We're like, if you inherited a building and you don't have the means to deal with it, like the city has some stuff for there, some options to help out with that. So we want to help with that. So then the other part, actual housing, a few things, right? It's hard to get housing built. Last year we passed what was called Bill 069, and that was a comprehensive zoning reform. It's the only zoning reform we've really gotten across, and that made it, basically you take away all the barriers from a zoning perspective to build housing. And we did that along Central, within a quarter mile Central, Broadway, 4th Street, some of the urban areas. And so within that area, you get housing built.
Yeah.
We also passed the bill, and I forget the name of it, is R177, and essentially it's called the procurement code, where how you can take state dollars and give it to developers to build housing with restrictions, and you have to qualify, and it has to be affordable housing. We cut out a ton of red tape, so a process that would have taken 18 months can now be done in 3 months. So, and then we got some dollars from the governor and some of our state representatives got about 7.4 million last year. So those three things alone, there's something like 200 homes now being built right now. So that includes like the Wells Fargo's being remodeled because of that. There's projects on West Central that had stalled, but now are back because of the zoning reform, parking reforms. So there's a lot of that. I don't think it's enough yet by any means, even with that many. I think it's a pretty good start for 2 years. But if we continue to get some state funding to help, I mean, things have gotten so expensive to build now. It's really hard for anyone to build anything. And so we have to provide that sort. So we've taken out all the obstacles. Now we just need to continue adding in that financial support, I think, and we'll get more going. We also, and here's where like the vacancy bill comes in, like converting some of these old buildings or some of these parking lots, they used to have housing on it way back in the day. Like maybe we get some of those property owners will have the incentive to sell and turn them into housing for folks.
Yeah, there's definitely a few buildings that I've noticed, I mean, growing up here, years that have just stayed vacant for so long, and I've just never understood the benefit of that or how we sort of get around that. And there's always, that need for development here is never been more apparent.
Right, very true.
So I was going to sort of circle back to that vacancy bill and the collapse of Lindy's, but I wanted to, since we're sort of tight on time, I wanted to give other people to, if you had questions or wanted to comment on any of these issues about public safety or housing, while we have the counselor here. Just want, I have a lot of people on the call. Did anyone want to ask a question? Mr. Gonzalez, I see you're off mute. Go ahead.
Hello, Joaquin. I think you're aware of a lot of my frustrations here in my own neighborhood, the empty lots that we have. I live right next to the ART station in Edo, and as was being said earlier, there are so many empty lots, so many empty buildings. And unfortunately, they're not all absent landowners. Some of them are local landowners. I know that if you say something like, is it time for the city to consider eminent domain for some of these properties that city legal's hair catches fire. But we need a greater sense of urgency about building housing downtown. And, you've mentioned several projects that are going on, the Wells Fargo and some other projects. But in the downtown core in Edo, there are, as you know, dozens of opportunities for apartment buildings to be built, apartment buildings that could be thrown up, not like Wells Fargo, which is a multi-year project and a complicated project. So I'm wondering, how do we actually get the kind of infusion of state money, because we know that the state has money. How do we speed up that process so that we're not looking at another 3 or 4 or 5 years before we can actually start getting apartments that could be built in 6 months, as you were saying, or a year, rather than looking at projects that are going to be down the pike, 5 years, 10 years.
Right. Good question. I think, and we've talked quite a bit, Moises and I, a super active member of the community. I think, we're, from a city standpoint, we've changed the rules that we need to, that we're prohibiting or slowing things down. So we've done that part. I think we could, and some of the folks in EDO have asked that we extend the boundaries of like the vacancy bill, which is probably something I needed to.
So it doesn't go up?
It's only the core, because when we first passed it, we got so much resistance that we shrunk it down. So extending that's probably a good thing. Partnerships, folks have been asking about the building on Broadway and Central, the old Baptist church.
Yes.
There's a new developer there. We're meeting here, I think, next week. So I'll have updates on that when I meet with folks. We're trying to throw as many incentives as possible. I can't make anybody sell their land or develop their land, unfortunately. I wish we had more Bruce Waynes in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
I don't think we have enough of those by any stretch. You know, in the past I've been a, Moises is right? You say eminent domain and people lose their minds.
Yeah.
In the past I was kind of like, well, let's see where we can get without that. But I'm starting to lean towards, you know, there are some, maybe it is time to start considering that, because
Well,
you know, we need everything, every tool in the toolkit, and that's one of them. And we do, Albuquerque is unique in that we have property owners that just leave their buildings empty for decades. You know, 60 years is not unheard of in downtown Albuquerque, which is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. And then I think the last part, to Moises' point, the state does have tons of money, and we've gotten better at getting some of that funding. Part of that is relationships. Part of that is showing success. You're not wasting dollars.
Yeah.
So something like the Wells Fargo or the Gizmo building, which is we helped on that quite a bit. Showing those successes helps people know, oh, they're going to put the money to use.
Yeah.
And that sometimes doesn't happen. So, my hope in the next administration, we have great relationships with Speaker Martinez and folks. We'll get more dollars for projects.
Yeah.
But we also need to have, I mean, it has to be a partnership, right? We have to have the folks who build homes, they got to be willing to do it, and we got to have the land. The county assessor was doing his part to try and develop the parking lots.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he lost his re-election, so we'll see where that goes. But it's a tough nut to crack, right? Like getting some of these empty lots, or parking lots as you call them, to develop into something more is not an easy thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I guess, you know, not to harp on Lindy's across the street, but I you know, now the concern is, you know, the effort to, you know, bring the building down and abate it and all that, we'll have another empty lot there.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned these incentives, but do we have builders and developers really taking advantage of them, or how do we sweeten the pot, I guess, is the question.
Yeah, so I mean, it is, right? There was a parking lot at 2nd and Gold.
Yeah.
It went up for sale. A hotelier tried to buy it, and another group outbid them.
Yeah.
And they wanted to keep it a parking lot.
Keep it a parking lot.
Like, stuff like that is, I mean, I don't have control over that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I don't understand the economics of it either. Like,
Yeah.
it would have helped all your other properties if you kept it. But that said, you know, we do have tools within the city. You know, there is tax abatement, there is, you know, loosening of restrictions. There is some stuff there. And I think we're shifting. I think, you know, there's definitely, I used to joke around, you know, the only thing people in Albuquerque hate more than the status quo is change. It's hard to get something done in Albuquerque because people fight everything. But I think that's shifting, that attitude is shifting a lot.
Yeah.
I think, you know, Moises makes a point, like it's, you know, eminent domain, maybe it's time for some of that type of stuff. Start moving some things a little bit more. And I think people are starting to see, like, we're starting to see results, right? I mean, Gizmo being one of the prime, that thing was empty for 50 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, other than the Gizmo store that was there for a while, but I mean, now it's beautiful.
Yeah, no,
and it's about to be a vibrant part of our city, so.
Yeah, we definitely need more of that. And again, we often look to just sort of the development on the, right there at 8th Street with the new hotel and Ex Novo and the mechanic shop and stuff. Definitely making it a little more vibrant has changed just the feel on that side of Central. It definitely feels we need to keep working up into Edo. There's some buildings there that have been vacant for quite a long time, and you can sort of sense in that area that it affects the community a lot, and just its ability to be a walkable neighborhood. It feels abandoned at times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Were there other questions? Go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah. So first thing with Lindy's, you know, I don't know if they ever found out from State Farm how much money they were getting, because that was one of the problems for them making a decision. I just hope that, you know, after it's torn down and built up, that you embrace the architecture from that era of the building.
Yeah.
You know, would be nice.
Absolutely.
As far as public safety, I've lived downtown for 18 years. I would not live anywhere else in the city. The 2015, we got married in our backyard, and things weren't good then. And fortunately, Doubletree Hotel, they had a shuttle service that was from 5 in the morning till midnight at night, 9 blocks from there. Didn't have to worry. Things have greatly improved, and like you say, the negative media is really frustrating of the reports that they have all the time. And so we made the conscious decision to live downtown. We could walk 5 blocks to work. We save on car insurance, we save on fuel. We also made a conscious decision to support downtown businesses. I can walk to my family doctor, my eye doctor, vehicle repair, barber. Used to be dentist before he passed away. You can take advantage of the bus system. Family was out of town a week ago. We walked to the train station. You know, went to Santa Fe. And so some of the things also, when you see people, when conversations come on next door about, you know, the policing and all this negative stuff, whatever, I'm not going to engage in a conversation, but I just try to educate. And so I go to the CPC meetings, and what I just basically tell them is that there are CPC meetings in the city. You can go to citybq.gov, find the district that you're in, when it's being held, and you can go there. Generally, the commander's there. They have a topic. You can ask any question. They're very transparent. They may give you data from the month before in your area, you know, to educate you on there, but you do have a voice. Yeah. And generally, when I put that out there, I get 2 likes and the conversation stops.
Yeah.
You know, with that, because it's like, you know how bad the negativity is here for that. But there's been a tremendous amount of improvement. I've worked with the police a lot here. And, you know, when we had Kathy Townsend's place, and squatters went in there, but it was actually the owners that prevented anything being done because they wouldn't let the police in. It took 6 months, but that's what it takes sometimes. But they were great to work with. So I'm a huge proponent for downtown, and between 8th and 7th shows what can be done.
Yeah, absolutely. CPC is super important. I'll be on that one later today.
Yeah, I sort of forewent I was going to save the announcements for later since you have to leave a little early, but I just wanted to be able to have, you know, talk about some of that stuff before.
For sure.
Any other sort of comments or parting things you want to leave us about?
You know, it does take time. Sometimes it's much slower than we'd like it to.
Yeah. Well, and you point out, I definitely feel there's a lot of negativity around some of these changes that people just aren't familiar with or don't understand. And again, when Jerry talks about sort of the walkability, it's just not an issue I feel is important to as many people as it should be.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, you know, by all means, if you want to meet with me, anybody, send me an email. We'll schedule you in. I meet with constituents all the time, and we can talk about stuff. I mean, even, you know, we now have 2 public restrooms downtown. We had 0 when I got here.
Yeah.
The cost of those was, you know, people complained about the cost, but, you know, they have to be bomb-proof. They have to be able to be maintained. But it also, not only does it take care of our tourists, it helps people who are visiting downtown, but it provides dignity to a lot of our unhoused neighbors. And so even something small like that, which sometimes goes unnoticed or a little bit of pushback, really is a big positive step forward. And I think we have a lot of those, and we don't talk enough about those. I need to get better at highlighting a lot of that stuff as well.
Well, and it seems like a very simple thing, a public restroom. You know, I point out, I go to New York, and you can find a public restroom in places, in parks and stuff. So it was just one of those hurdles that I felt, you know, we had to overcome one way or another. Unfortunately, it comes with the price tag, and people these days are very conscious of how we spend that money. But I definitely appreciate, you know, the efforts to sort of supply that dignity and make our downtown a little more accessible and usable for people other than just the vehicles and cars that come down here.
Right, absolutely.
Well,
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, please,
Real quick.
James. Yeah, no.
Thank you. I was at the ribbon cutting for the bridge to nowhere. The news that came out for me was that DMD had said it's going to take a year
To get across.
to complete the next phase. In the meantime, can we reopen the north side of the underpass, light it, put music there, have the transit cops check on it once in a while? But can we just have a wait and not have to wait a year to walk downtown?
I know it's hard. So I'll take responsibility for closing it. You know, we had music, we had lighting, all that got torn out. Put it back in, got torn out. You know, it's about $50,000 every time that gets replaced. The businesses were complaining. Residents at One Central were complaining. Nobody, I won't say nobody. It really was becoming pretty bad at that point because it was choking, is the concentrating everybody into one side. I'm open to discussing it, but it really reached a level of, drug use, using it as a restroom, using it as camping, fires constantly. Our office did buy the little multi-hog sidewalk cleaner. I don't know if everyone's seen that. That thing would drive through once a week to clean it out. So it's worth talking about, because honestly, I think it's going to be more than a year before it's open, the bridge, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks don't realize that part of that design that's making it take so long in cost is to put the tumbleweed there that's over at the rail yards right now. If that wasn't part of the design, it would be probably have a rail trail there sooner, to be honest.
Yeah, and quickly, the other news this week, I saw one TV report said that Comic-Con is leaving downtown.
Really?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that.
Going to the,
It's going to Expo, New Mexico.
yeah, the fairgrounds.
Wow, that's a loss.
Yeah. Well, I mean, definitely, like I'd said, that First Street area is something I feel is the gateway to our downtown, and I feel like for a variety of reasons it has been neglected over the years. So I'm glad we've made the start, but I agree it is sort of difficult now to navigate through there, especially with all those areas closed. You can't walk on the street, so.
Or if it's going to be a year or more, can we have a sign that tells people how to get downtown?
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We'll work on that for sure.
Thanks.
There is a larger wayfinding plan in place that the mayor's team is doing. It's taking, again, things take time. But
Peter
I think we can do that at least.
Peter had talked about in the new, those pictograms that are on First Street and Lomas that are going to be part of that. So
yeah, I'm trying to get a few of those covered just out of our office, just to get them out there.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting for the larger project to get done.
I can say this because I'm retired now. DOT is not the easiest organization to work with.
Yeah. There's.
I can say it. You don't have to say anything. I can say it. In the past.
Right.
So leave it just at that.
Yeah, multi-jurisdictional projects are always tough to get done.
Well, again, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you dressing up and the tie and everything on this hot day.
Definitely, thank you.
Yeah, and like I said, I got some popsicles and Klondike bars out there on your way out because it's hot out there. Yeah. But thank you very much. All right. Well, we were coming to a close. I did want to take a few moments to share some announcements. Let me get my see if I can get my slides up here. But there is a CPC meeting tonight that will take place at the Wells Park. Stop the share. Wells Park Community Center at 6 o'clock. It will be for the Valley CPC. I believe the City Councilor Joaquin will be there. I'm not sure what the specific topic is, but I'll be there as well, and we'll probably discuss some of these same public safety issues we had today. I wanted to see if anyone else on the call had anything they wish to announce. Was there anyone who had any announcements or anything? Go ahead, Michael.
Mike.
Yep. Go ahead, Michael. I can
Sometimes
hear you.
I think I'm doing okay?
Yes, sorry.
Earplugs. Sometimes I think we don't have a proper definition of downtown. It's basically what it is. It's a judicial governmental center of New Mexico. We have this federal, state, and of course municipal courts here. And we also have the city and county headquarters. Bernalillo County's headquarters is maybe larger than any of the other cities. Maybe that's just off the top of my head. I threw that one out. But certainly the city of Albuquerque, now they've got a lot of offices scattered around. I think county planning and zoning isn't actually downtown. It's over, different location, but the city headquarters, the Plaza Building, and so the planning and zoning is downtown. And as far as business is concerned, there are no real banks downtown. They've kind of moved out. They're branch banks. There's used to be a big deal in the downtown, an insurance building, a big insurance. They're not there. So of course P&M is state headquarters. I mean, that's a big deal. But now, just what is the definition? It isn't a place where you go for fine dining. They argue Nob Hill is a popular place now, Old Town. Of course, another big deal downtown is the convention center. So that makes it a definition too. But I just thought I'd mention those things. So thanks, Daryl, for your efforts here with the downtown.
Sure.
And keep up the Zoom
Well,
process.
I appreciate that, Michael. And again, I think that's part of the problem too for us as a community to really define what it is we want our downtown to be. As the councilor is pointing out, it's mostly a weekend party spot for a lot of people, but we should, find ways to support the development that makes it a location for some of the dining and some of these other things. We have our municipal offices and those sort of things, but I definitely feel, with more growth and housing here, those other needs are gonna have to be supported if we're gonna actually have a vibrant downtown. So hopefully we can head that direction. Again, I sort of abbreviated this session just so that I could have the conversation. Yeah, you had a question?
Yeah, I can answer the banking issue downtown, because I was in banking before, for 24 years. Having a downtown branch is one of the biggest challenges of any branch in any bank. And there you're limited with competition and stuff. So I was with the Bank of America first over there near the Wells Fargo building, and then they abandoned downtown. So I went to Bank of Albuquerque. And so I could walk, 8 blocks to 4th and to Harris to the office that was there. Went because it was a very down-to-earth branch manager in there. But then Bank of Albuquerque, they abandoned it. They left a ATM there. And I talked to the bank several times about the issue. And then all of a sudden, the ATM is gone. They never told anybody. So I approached them and I talked to them on there, and you need to communicate to people. And I said, if you don't know how to do it, I'll tell you how to do it. All you got to do is take the zip codes that are in the area, match it against your customer file, and send the letters out to the people out there. But they didn't seem to care. So they have an unusual shared network system. So the only 2 ATMs that are available now for Bank of Albuquerque downtown is the WaFed building on 3rd Street. There's an ATM there outside the hotel. And the other one is a government building at 6th and Lomas in there, but you're limited to the times that government building is open.
Yeah.
And that's all that's available now for Bank of Albuquerque downtown. Otherwise, you have to drive, 3 miles at least to get to an ATM at Trisco or up on Central, past Nob Hill.
Yeah, no, I until it was mentioned, I sort of have gotten that we had lost a lot of banks and ATM access down here over time. And I didn't really think of it as sort of a symptom of some other things, but yeah, I think now everyone has these other electronic means, so it's not as important unless you're someone who needs cash and uses those banks. But
and you can see branches kind of going away too, because with everything done online in ATMs, do you really need a brick and mortar, which they generally cost at least $1 million to build?
yeah, I noticed a new branch that my bank built was like a kiosk. It wasn't even really a bank. They built a very small bank. But well, unless there are other comments or announcements or anything, we were going to end a little early today. But our next session will be with the Office of Neighborhood Coordination Vanessa Baca will be here sort of talking about how people can get involved with their neighborhood associations. And again, I appreciate everybody showing up. And like I said, for the people.
Daryl, I have another comment. You know,
Go ahead, yeah.
The sound of the speakers there are very low.
Yeah, I was noticing some feedback here. I wasn't.
Your voice is good, but and that last speaker was very low too. So if that's in your if that's in your little room there,
I'll yell at the guys in the booth back there. I think they were. Oh yeah, there was
individual
some
speakers or something.
Yeah.
Individual speakers, maybe. I mean, whatever. Thank you.
I appreciate that, and we'll work on that the next time. But again, we have the 4th of July coming up, and I hope everybody gets some time to cool off or do something fun outside. Like I was saying here, for the people here, I brought some popsicles and some ice cream bars so we can cool off. But thank you, everybody. I will see you.
If I could.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Moses.
Just one little footnote on the ATMs because they took out the one that was down on Gold Street.
The See You Anytime one, yeah.
Yeah, but there is a See You Anytime at 4th, just north of Mountain, and there's also an ATM in the Rainforest Building. That's a Nusenda ATM, just for anybody looking for an ATM.
The UNM Rainforest Building has an ATM in there?
Yeah,
okay.
Although it's only accessible during the business hours of the coffee shop, which is, I think, 7 to 2 or something like that.
Yeah, and we're going to need that bridge across the railroad tracks to get there. So
there may be an ATM still at 6th and Harris where First Financial abandoned that property.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's an odd thing. I didn't see you guys brought up. I hadn't really noticed that they all had disappeared. Any other closing comments or anything? Again, I appreciate everybody dropping in for the conversation, and we'll follow up on some of these things later and continue to try to improve our downtown. But again, thank you, everybody, and I will see you July 9th.
Thank you for joining us. We welcome your suggestions regarding any scenario involving future public safety echo sessions. For more information, visit www.cabq.gov/echo.